Today, we're going to talk about something called Medinsight. And this isn't just another piece of software for doctors. Nope. Think of it more like an AI co-pilot designed to bring a whole new level of precision to patient care.
So let's just start with a big question, right? What if an AI could step in and help prevent some of those medical errors that have truly devastating consequences? And what if, at the same time, it could give doctors back the one thing they need most, more time with their patients? Well, that's the core promise of what we're looking at today.
And to really get why this matters so much, you have to understand the stakes. And honestly, they're just staggering. In the United States alone, it's estimated that 371,000 deaths every single year are linked to diagnostic mistakes.
Now, the human cost is obviously heartbreaking, but the financial cost, it's enormous. These errors tack on about $100 billion in extra healthcare costs every year. That's a huge drain on the system.
And here's the third piece of this puzzle, and it's a big one: clinician burnout. Studies show that in a typical 8-hour workday, a doctor can spend over 5 of those hours just buried in electronic health records and paperwork. Think about that. That's more time staring at a screen than actually talking to a patient.
So, you see, these aren't just random numbers. They paint a really clear picture of 3 critical challenges that healthcare is facing right now, and they all feed into each other. And this is where you can see how it all connects. You've got diagnostic accuracy, clinician burnout, and patient communication. These aren't separate problems at all. The source material calls this a critical triad of systemic friction. Basically, it's a vicious cycle. Each problem makes the others worse, and that affects everyone, from the doctors all the way down to the patients.
So, it's right into this complex mess that Medinsight is designed to step in. It's built to be a unified AI co-pilot that can tackle all 3 of these issues head-on. And this is probably the most important thing to get. Medinsight is an AI co-pilot, not a replacement for a doctor. Its main job is to bring together 3 totally different streams of information: medical imaging, like x-rays, what the patient says their symptoms are, and the actual real-time conversation happening between the doctor and the patient.
Okay, so that sounds great in theory, but how does it actually do all that? Let's take a look under the hood at the core tech that lets this system effectively see and listen in a clinical setting. The whole thing is powered by 2 specialized AI models that come out of Google's Healthcare AI Development Framework. On one side, you have MedSiglip. Think of it as the eyes of the system. It's been trained to analyze medical images. And on the other side, you've got MedGemma, which is kind of like the brain. It's the part that understands all the text, the clinical notes, and the conversations to put all the pieces of the puzzle together.
This right here is a perfect example of what MedSiglip does. It doesn't just look at this chest x-ray. It actually transforms the pixels into structured clinical data. So it spots that nodule with high confidence, and then it pulls out key details, like its location, and, this is really important, a high urgency level. Then MedGemma steps in as the synthesis engine. It takes everything, the patient's symptoms, any notes the doctor already has, and those findings from MedSiglip, and it weaves them all together to create something actually useful, from generating clean notes to sending alerts. Okay, so we've got all these inputs coming in. But how does Medinsight actually turn that mountain of raw data into a real, genuine clinical insight? Let's check out how that transformation actually happens. Now, this is one of the coolest features. Medinsight is actively listening to the conversation between the doctor and patient. So here, you see the patient says they have sharp pain in my chest. The system flags that as ambiguous. It's missing key details like where exactly it is. So it gently nudges the doctor with some specific follow-up questions. The process itself is really simple but incredibly powerful. First, MedGemma analyzes the dialogue for any gaps. Then it generates these targeted prompts for the doctor to ask. And the result? A much more complete and accurate patient history. This isn't just about good notes. It's a direct way to help prevent those diagnostic errors we were talking about earlier. And for the clinician, this is the big payoff. On the left, you've got all the messy, raw inputs, the conversation, the x-ray, maybe some quick notes typed out. And on the right, Medinsight has automatically turned it all into a clean, structured SOAP note, which is the standard format for medical records. I mean, that one feature alone could save doctors a huge amount of time.
So, when you put all of these pieces together, the goal isn't just to make things faster. The goal is to build a clinical workflow that is fundamentally safer and more efficient by its very design.
Yeah, it is absolutely critical that we address the safety question, because that's always a concern with AI in medicine. The source material is crystal clear on this.
It says, Medinsight is strictly a decision support tool. It does not autonomously make a diagnosis. The final call, every single time, rests with the human doctor.
And this focus on safety is baked right into the system. It's built for privacy, meaning the models run locally so patient data never leaves the hospital. It's also built around that human-in-the-loop idea we just mentioned. And of course, its performance is constantly validated on real clinical data to make sure it's accurate and reliable.
So when you boil it all down, the impact really comes down to three things. First, it reduces that massive administrative burden on doctors. Second, it improves the completeness of the patient's story. And third, it enhances the understanding for everybody involved. It's a system that's designed to attack that triad of friction right at its source.
Ultimately, the core idea here is that the future of precision care is multimodal. It's not about looking at just one piece of data in isolation. It's about intelligently weaving together images, text, and conversations, letting the technology handle that complex synthesis so that our doctors and nurses can focus on what they do best, taking care of the patient.